Have you noticed a crack in your radiator and it's slowly leaking fluid and you don't want to replace it? Maybe you don't have the money to do it, or you just don't feel like doing it. Maybe the leak is not that bad yet and you can patch it. Well, I'm here to help you along with some JB Weld. What's going on YouTube? Kevin Reese here. Thank y'all for stopping by my channel today. As you can see, I'm out here. This vehicle, I got some JB Weld. This is plastic weld. We're going to be patching a radiator today. I'm going to show y'all how to do it, the steps you're going to go through step by step. I'm going to show you, so it'll make it super easy. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Let's get started. All right, y'all. So let me show you what we got going on here. If you look right along the top of this radiator here, you can see when I move that, you see a little bit of fluid. I've got a split, just a little hairline split all the way along the front of this thing that extends right up to about the fill cap. Now this thing has been previously patched. As you can see, I've scraped some of the old patching off of it. So let's go over the tools you're gonna need to do the job real quick, y'all. Putty knife. So the reason I'm using this is because, as y'all can see, like I said before, you can see that the old bonding that I scraped off there that somebody else did. So it wasn't really holding, so I scraped it off. But just generally, just kind of to get any residue that's on the radiator, to get it off of it. Sandpaper. So just something really rough and abrasive to kind of rough this surface up. It's going to help the bonding to stick to it. And as you can see here, I've wiped this off. You're also going to need a rag. I've got this old sock here. Worked just fine. So you can see you want to wipe all the residue off. You want it to be completely dry. I went ahead and removed this hose here just to give us some more room. Also, you're going to want to remove your fill cap, because this is going to help take pressure off the radiator if it had any pressure built on it. Because what you don't want is the pressure to be on the radiator and causing the fluid and the pressure to seep back up through the top. So you want to take the pressure off of the system. So once you've got the area good, good and dry, you can see it's still wanting to leak some whenever I press it. The problem I have is that the fluid level is right here, almost to the bottom. It's right here to the bottom of this neck here in the fill cap, so it's still got fluid in here. So without like completely draining the radiator, it's going to be hard to get it all the way dry. But we've got it fairly dry enough now. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to replace this and put it down all the way tight, but I'm just going to cover it so I don't get any particles in there. You're going to take your sandpaper. You just start kind of roughing this area up, just kind of some back and forth motions here like that. Just get the area nice and just roughened up. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but as you can see here, I'm just creating a more abrasive surface here that's going to make our epoxy stick better. Alright, so as y'all can see, just take a look at that surface there now, y'all. You can see the crack here. And you see I've got it pretty roughed up here with the sandpaper. And the last tool you're going to need here is some carb cleaner or either brake cleaner. You want to spray this on here because it's going to remove any kind of oily residue that's on there. So we're going to go ahead real quick and spray some of this on. So that's going to get it good and clean, get all the oil off of it. Just let that dry. Alright y'all, so our JB Weld here. So make sure you read the directions on the back of it. So it talks about clean the repair area of dirt, grease, oil, paint, rust, etc. We did that. You want to mix it, so after you remove the replaceable cap, press down on the plunger and squeeze equal amounts onto a disposable surface and mix thoroughly. Disposable surface, that's usually, if you're like most people, you're going to open this up and do it right here on the package, which is what I'm going to do. So this is a resealable no waste cap. So you can use this more than once, which is pretty cool. You're going to apply with the appropriate tool in an even coat, weld, bead, or extruded shape as needed. And now I noticed in here, a lot of them will include a little application tool. So this is our application tool. Dry, so it sets in 15 minutes, it cures in 30 minutes. If temperature is below 40, then set time is longer. Well, right now I can tell y'all, if y'all have seen by the way I'm dressed, it's in the 20s, it's in the high 20s right now. High 20s, low 30s. It says for best results, use detergent or degreaser to first clean the surface, which is what we did. Then roughen surface with file or coarse sandpaper to provide the best repair. So the cure time for this thing, y'all, I've parked it, it's nighttime. I'm not gonna drive it till tomorrow. I'm just gonna let it sit for at least 12 hours. Now we're gonna go ahead and mix up our epoxy. All right, so if you turn this cap, pull it off, you can see we've got like a dual port here a dual port plunger, which is pretty cool. So this is really neat. So you're going to take this with these two pieces and you're going to put this on here. So we're going to do it like this. So I've got this dual plunger. So here we go. We're mixing, and we're mixing. So I'm going to replace this. It's pretty cool. You can put this back on and turn it so it locks. And there you go. So now with this surface here, y'all can see that the different colors. You just want to mix it up real quick. And so we're mixing it. And then we're going to go ahead and apply real quick. Alright y'all, so I mixed up a pretty good bit of it, and I'm sorry, whenever I mixed it up I wasn't able to film and change the camera angle, so this is what you got right here. I'll check back in with y'all tomorrow. We're going to let it sit overnight and just see how it does. Alright y'all, so we have managed to stop the leak. Now, it's been about 2 weeks since that first application, and I'll tell you what I did. I ended up having to do a total of 3 layers. You know, they say third time's a charm. So when I did that first layer, if you remember, the material kind of spread down. And I'm going to kind of explain that to y'all. So when I laid that first layer across the top of the radiator, since it was curved, it kind of went down the sides, and the middle layer where the crack was, at the peak of the radiator, at the highest point, it had the thinnest layer of JB Weld over it and in it. So I ended up with like 4 little holes that the pressure from the radiator kind of pushed up through, so it started leaking again. I ended up doing a second layer, got it down to like maybe like 1 or 2 like air holes, finished up with a total of a 3rd layer across the top, and I ended up with 1 hole that was kind of, it had like a pit in the middle where it was still trying to bubble up, and so the JB Weld was almost hard, like it's supposed to like harden like it's in like 15 minutes. So I ended up doing it in like maybe after 10 minutes it was still where I like kind of pliable, so I moved a little bit that was kind of went off the side, which I'll show you in a second. I put it on top of it so it was able to seal that area, and then it all settled and dried. So let me show you what it looks like. All right y'all, so here is the finished product here, and as you can tell, if y'all remember, now like I said, I have been driving this thing for a few weeks. I have done some long trips in it, hour-long drives, you know, 60 and 70 miles one way. And if you can recall from before, when it was leaking, you know, it was spraying out the top, so my whole air box would be wet. All down here on the inside would be wet. All this over here would be wet. You know, coolant was everywhere. You can imagine the crack here, when pressure got on it would spray out. If you can see now, y'all, I have no leaks on the front, anywhere on the front. I have no leaks down here on the back side, so there's no leaks anywhere. The only thing, I can still smell like a little coolant, and also this hole here, you can see, that's what I was trying to tell y'all. So on the back side, like I pushed some up, and you can see it looks wet. This is all dry. It's completely dry. It's just, I guess, I don't know why it looks that way, but all this is dry. The only softer spot, and it's because I didn't, if you can see, this is soft, and it has sealed everything, but it's like that because it was almost dry, and I kind of pushed it back on top and made that little hole kind of over the top, and that's where the bubble was coming from. So that brings me to my take home here, y'all. If you're gonna do it, if I had to do it again, to do it 100% right, I would drain the radiator, or at least make sure that your coolant level is below the area that you're trying to patch, like ours was on this radiator. I would make sure that it wasn't even an issue, and that because it constantly tried to, like, I would wipe it, and it was constantly some pressure on the system, just that was constantly just pushing coolant up, so I could never get it like 100% dry. So I did a layer and then another layer, so 3 layers. Anyway, it's fixed, it's sealed, we aren't having any issues, and it didn't cost that much money to do it. We didn't have to replace the radiator, go through the hassle of that. So it costs 1 tube of JB Weld to fix a radiator that if you took it to a shop, they would want to change the whole thing out. And I mean, you're looking at hundreds of dollars downtime on your vehicle. So really the way to go if you can patch it. So thank y'all for watching. I'm Kevin Reese. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button for me, y'all. Drop a comment, and I usually try to answer back pretty quick. So let me know if y'all have any questions at all. I'll see y'all on the next video. I'm Kevin Reese. Like, comment, subscribe.